Hi there, and thank you for kicking in to watch this recap of the workshop SEO and Google Analytics, Optimizing Your Online Performance. Today's podcast will last around 45 minutes, and my contact details will be at the very end for anyone that has any questions. My name is Patricia Owens, and I work for a company called Full Circle Management Solutions. We are based in Belfast, and we deliver a few programs across the councils in Northern Ireland. Through this work, I would work one-to-one with businesses as well as through delivering different workshops on behalf of the councils. I'm just going to share my slides with you to take you through the content step by step. A part of these, there will be some exercises. So what I would ask you to do is hit pause when we get to those exercises. Carry those out, take as long as you need, usually in and around 15 minutes is more than enough. And then restart it back up and we'll be going through the answers. So, okay, what I'm going to cover today, and bringing up the slides here for you now, is SEO and Google Analytics, optimizing your online performance. So what we'll be going through today is the importance of having a plan for the next month of online content for yourself. Now we'll be touching on a few things today in terms of social media, blogs, updating your website, and putting keywords in it. So in terms of a plan, it's the importance of that for you guys. SEO, so to learn what it is, it's a term that is used widely within digital marketing, and a lot of people use it in the wrong way, or they panic when they hear it because they think it's a technical jargon. What I'm going to do is break down today some of the hints and tips that you can be doing and how one can measure it. So that's where Google Analytics comes in. To learn about keywords, one of the most important things within search engine optimization is actually looking at keywords, looking at in terms of not what you want to be known for, but actually what do your followers know you for or know about your industry for, and how to use them. And then we're going to look at the very end and bring it all together with a checklist for consideration. Okay, so here is a plan that I would use. Now this is a plan that can be used for social media. It's a plan that can be used for your blogs. It can be used in terms of when you're going to spend time doing keywords. But all it is an Excel document. It's not scary, it's not to frighten you. It's set up. What we've got here is the date. So we've got the 1st of May 2020. That will be a Friday, and we're going to work on it in the morning. So you have full control over when you're able to work on this. You are setting your own goals and your own limitations. Yes and no really means, am I going to post? Am I going to do a blog? Or am I not going to do anything? So no. Digital marketing doesn't have to take over your life. You can do it in a planned out basis, so you don't have to be doing it every day. But what I would say is, because you're being social online, it is very important that you are reactive when things come in, rather than being proactive every day. Some of the things, and if you tune into the other podcasts that I have online, you will see what these are, what these mean, breaking them down. So on a Saturday morning, for most people, it's a shopping day, in which case we need to be posting something about a shopping day. So is the weather good? Encouraging people to come out. Is there a reduction in parking? Well then, absolutely let people know that there's a reduction in the price of parking. Memes are very good, but the one thing that I would say is we want them to be relevant to your business. There's no point putting a meme on that's going to be funny or get reaction if it's not going to be the right people reacting on it. It's quality over quantity in terms of social media, and in terms of anything that you do online. If you're just going to whack up 10 keywords and you're not going to really think about them, we're not going to get the result that we want. Okay. So the next 5 posts, this is where the exercise comes in. What I want you to do is plan the next 5 posts that you plan to put in social media. So pick a platform. Is that going to be Facebook? Is that going to be Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram? Pick a platform. Think of the demographic that you're targeting. So if you're on Facebook, is it slightly older? If you're on Instagram, is it slightly younger? Think about that target. Think about the reason that you're posting. And actually, did I entice somebody with a product the last time I posted? Should I be following that up with a sales type post, or was it the other way around? Did I have a very sales focused post that I need to lighten it so it doesn't look like Del Boy? If that's the case, then we have to look at actually how does that person want to be sold to? A younger person, they want it to be very short. So we're looking at our website and we're saying for selling on our website, we need it to go directly to the page that is going to be important for people. If we're selling to an older person, they maybe want more information. So we have to send them to a page that gives them information, and at the bottom of that has a link. But ultimately, we have to think rather than just, I'm going to put this up because it worked before. It's actually thinking about the keywords that we're using. So new people are finding us on social media, the keywords that we're driving people to our website. So have we got a call to action? Is this the paid post that we want to be call to action? And that's the reason why we're doing 5 posts. So if you take some minutes now and actually what I want you to do is take 15 minutes to work through this and actually sit there and say, can I answer these questions based on the last 5 posts that I've generated? So why have you chosen this post? Is there something that you think your followers will engage with? A lot of us in business are very, very lucky that our followers are actually the same type of people as us. If that's not the case, then we have to get that feedback. Is it our daughter, our son, our mother, our father, our sister, someone who would be our typical customer? Then we need to ask them, is this something that they think that your followers will engage with? And is it something I posted in the past? So we can look at analytics. We can say, did it work? Did it not work? Do you have to tweak it slightly if it didn't work the last time? So you want to hit pause now and work your way through that. And I'll just carry on with the rest of the slides. So SEO, what is SEO? Well, here's a big technical jargon. Basically, I'll pick out a few things in this. So it's a methodology. So it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. Strategies, techniques, and tactics. And we're going to talk through a few today. You're not going to change the world straight away. If somebody was to say to you, when you put a website live, if it's new, it's fresh, it's going to take 6 months before Google finds it. That shows you how long it can actually take to get a ranking on Google. These tactics, this process is used to increase the amount of visitors to a website by obtaining a high ranking placement in the search engine results of a page. So the like of Google, Bing, Yahoo, or any other search engines that you use. So essentially what that is where do I come up on Google when somebody types in my name? Where do I come up on Google when somebody types in a broad term related to my industry? And if I want to be known locally, will people actually put in the location? So if I'm sitting in Limavady today, are they going to put Limavady at the end of it? If I'm up in my office in Belfast, are they going to put Belfast after? We have to make that decision to say, what are people going to be Googling and what do I want to be ranking for? And then we look at search engine optimization and we say, here's the methodology that I'm going to implement. There might be processes or something that you have done that you think it isn't working. So we want to look at the analytics further through this workshop and actually say, well, it's a methodology. There's different strategies. Can we change the strategy to make a difference? So in terms of, looking at our site checkup, people say to me, actually, I don't know if it's good or bad. And why would you? Because it's all the back end of a website that somebody else may have built for you or that you built for yourself, not knowing any of these hints and tips. So essentially there is a website, it's called SEO Site Checkup. You can set up an account with them and pay, or you can run one free checkup every 24 hours. Realistically, within that, you're able to get the feedback of how well is your site performing. And what I want to show you within this is that the like of Amazon, we look at Amazon, we trust Amazon, we think it's a great website, that it's scoring 81 out of 100. The reason that I bring that up is because we're not going to get 100, but it's about if we're 40 now, getting it to 50. If we're 50 now, getting it to 60. And actually making judgment calls, because what this checkup will show you isn't just this graph. It works its way through everything. It asks us, have we got a security certificate? Have we got a site map? Have we got a favicon? So it basically goes through all of the things that Google wants to see. It shows you a cloud of all the keywords that you're ranking for. So even if this is saying that your checkup is great and you're sitting about 80 and you're thinking brilliant, the keyword cloud might be for some things that you absolutely don't want to be known for, or you don't sell at all, you just use the term in your page. So we want to actually say, is this correlating to what I want to be known for as well? Security certificate then. So I touched on this in the last slide there, but if we look at amazon.co.uk, there's a lock beside it. If we look at Facebook, there's a wee lock beside it. And if we look at the volunteernorthwest.co.uk, that's just a random one that I've put in. Essentially, there's not secure on that. So the reason for that is that they're not collecting information, or they're not collecting payment types. So they're not actually, by law, by legislation, they don't have to have a security certificate on their website. That said, it is a Google product. So when you pay for a security certificate, you're paying Google in and around £50 a year. Some domain companies will give you the first year for free. Some domain companies will be slightly more. You can buy it from other people. But in terms of ease, it's easier to buy from the people that are providing your domain, because it's a lot easier to link up if you're doing this yourself. Of course, if somebody else is doing it for you, it might be worth looking into the best possible price that you can get. But essentially, it gives you an extra layer of security on your website. So if you're taking card payments or you're taking customers' details, that wee lock will actually give them the peace of mind that you're processing their details properly. If we're looking at SEO, we're making a judgment call. We're saying it's not really worth me spending another £50 on my website, and I don't take anybody else's payment details or anybody else's details on my website. You might not have to get that security certificate, but the one thing that we need to look at is my competitors. Do my competitors have a security certificate? Because Google will always rank them slightly higher on that part than they would rank us if we didn't have one. So we actually have to make a decision and say, yes, there is every certain reason that we should have a security certificate, even if it is just to rank higher than our competitors. Okay, meta tags. So I've taken a few different examples here, just one council based in Northern Ireland, the Full Circle, which is our website, and then Canva. The reason I bring those up is Canva is actually very good if you're looking to create pretty imagery or edit images, and as long as you're using the free option, it will generate good imagery and it's cost effective for you. You can use an app, or you can go onto the website and do it there. Personally, I find the website a lot easier because the screen's bigger. Some people say to me, well, it's just handier because all my images are on the phone. It's entirely up to yourself, it's personal choice. Somewhere in the middle, maybe using a tablet. But what I want to show you is a meta tag. Meta tag for Full Circle then. Full Circle is a dynamic and results-focused management consultancy practice. We support businesses to remove barriers to growth and make positive change. Full Circle have made a judgment call that we want to be known as a dynamic and results-focused. We are a management consultancy practice. We do support businesses if they're looking for that. We remove barriers to growth. We make positive change. They're all key phrases within our meta tag that we want to be known for. Now, that doesn't mean that that's everything that anybody's going to search for us. We can make changes to that, and I can go onto the back end of the website and do that. And we'll touch base on how to actually do that in a couple of slides. Canva then. So Canva have ran a Google ad. The Google ad has a meta tag set. So beautiful design templates. So somebody's looking for a template. Tools to boost your workflow. No surprises, so we're looking at the cost. Will that make people search? Potentially not, but it's not about every single phrase, every single term being something that somebody is going to search for. It's actually when they get there that it makes sense, that it's a sentence. Try it free today, free 30-day trial, unlimited storage. There's lots of things that they're using that people will be looking for. Magic resize tool. So if we're looking at resizing images, we're looking at resize, we're coming up on that. But when they have looked at their own website, their general website and their homepage, they haven't set up a meta description. So I want to show you the difference. If we look at the part at the bottom there, HTTPS, they have a security certificate. Create beautiful designs with your team. Use Canva's drag and drop feature and layouts to design, share and print business cards, logos, presentations, and this text has been derived from their website, so it's actually on their homepage somewhere. In terms of that text, they're ranking for those terms, and that's fine, but that's where you don't have control what Google finds for you. So you're basically taking it that Google is going to pull some information from the homepage and use it as your meta tag. The 3 dots means that there wasn't enough room. You only have a certain amount of room to actually put key phrase or meta tags in there. So we want it to be short and concise, but we want it to still make sense. With an ad, it's slightly longer, so that's why they set a meta description. But again, if we're looking at the free feature for small to medium businesses, we're actually saying they haven't put any effort into that. It may still have some of the terms that people are searching for, so it's not to the detriment. And this is where I mean it's a process. If we don't know how to set a meta tag, we have to look at the cost-benefit analysis. Is the meta tag that Google is showing at the minute okay? Is it working? Well, then why should I pay a web developer to change it for me? In terms of the Derry City and Strabane, on their meta title, they haven't got district council. So now all of a sudden they're missing out in council. In terms of their meta description, they have the word council there, but the page that Google has actually ranked is if you require any further statistical information, please contact the statisticians within the council and a web or an email address. So they have no control over what that says. They could have changed that and said a meta description so that they were able to have certain information within that meta description that would have a call to action and make people want to click that site. Sitemap then. A sitemap is essentially you telling Google. So what Google is a number of different robots that are sent out. Those robots are trained to look at websites. They're trained to go out from Google and find, well, if here's a phrase, what is using that on a website? So by setting a sitemap, you're showing those robots who have no control over what they see exactly what's on your page. Those robots don't have the ability to look at images, so we have to put text behind an image or set titles, so alt text on those images to actually show this is exactly what this image is, so that rather than there being blank space for those robots, it's essentially showing them that there's text. So if your website is made up of 80% images and there's no alt text or no text behind it, it's very difficult for Google to actually find that page. It's very difficult for it to rank that page. So you need to be doing something extra. And that's a sitemap where you're telling Google what that website looks like, how to navigate through that website. The one thing that you don't want is to change a page and your sitemap be completely different. So if we're using the like of template websites, it's very difficult to change those pages. So we essentially have a sitemap that we can submit on our Google console. If we're looking at templates, but we've edited the template slightly, we actually have to go on to plugins or to the back end of websites and generate a new sitemap, which we then upload to our Google console. The reason and the importance for doing this is Google then does not see pages that are not there. Have you ever gone onto a website and it says page not found or page requested not found? That's essentially the sitemap is saying there's a page here, but there's no page here. Okay. So what makes a good site? And I have a lot of people ask me this question day and daily. There's no right or wrong answer to this, but there's a few things that we can look at in terms of hints and tips. So quality over quantity. It's not about having 95 pages to 100 pages with lots and lots of keywords on them. It's about having 5 to 10 good pages and putting all of our keywords within those pages. There is a thing in Google that says we want 350 words per page. Does that make it look nice for the user? So we have to have this trade-off in terms of SEO. We want it to be user-friendly. We want the journey to be great, where there's calls to action all over the page, but we also want to be looking at close to the 350 words, so Google has something to rank. In essence, if we duplicate content, so if we're looking at our homepage and we put a bit about ourselves, and then we just copy and paste that onto our about page, there's no point having an about page because we duplicated content. The wee robots, all they see is the same content, no effort being put in. They don't rank the about page, and that brings down the overall rankings. User journey. So we've looked at user journey within quality over quantity, but essentially, if we go on to the like of Google Analytics, what that will show us is the average amount of pages that somebody has to click through to actually get to the purchase page or to get to the page that you want them to go to. Maybe that's contact us. If you only have 3 pages and there's no way that they can navigate in 3 pages, well, then we have to look at that journey and say, how do we shorten that? The loading speed, you know yourself, if you're going on by a phone and the internet's not great, we probably have about 5 seconds, and we have to work off worst case scenario of somebody that is at home using 3G and doesn't have great internet. Well, if they can't get on in 5 seconds, they're going to go straight off. That then increases your bounce rate, which is somebody going onto the website and going straight off. If that decreases, or your bounce rate increases, and your loading speed also increases, you will find that Google will not rank that page because they see it as faulty. They will look at your analytics more than you can ever look at your analytics, and you want it to be that you understand them and you digest them. Broken links then, URL friendly. So if we're looking at broken links, if links, like say you have a call to action and you move that page, your link does not work anymore. We have to have it exactly the same. So if you have a page and it's a call to action button that says contact us, and then you change the contact us to contact, all of a sudden your links will not work, and you actually have to go back in to the editing facility and change that to just contact. URL friendly. Google does not like underscores, they don't see them. So we have to have hyphens or all together phrases. So if we're looking at hashtags where all the words are crammed together, we're looking at that for URL friendly links as well. So a lot of what you learn for SEO can be adapted into social media, as well as creating good content for blogs. Blogs then. This is an example. If that looks familiar, your site is probably built on the like of WordPress. A blog then, what does it do? A lot of web developers will say you should be writing a blog. The reason that they want you to be writing a blog is essentially what it does is update your website. Every time you create a new blog, Google then get a notification that somebody has gone to a new page. They have to go and check that out. So they go and check that page out, any keywords that you've used in that blog, any things that you've put on that blog, new features, they're all beginning to rank on your page. So if we're thinking bringing out a new product or bringing out a new service, we're generating a bit of hype about a service that we have been doing in the past, some of our customers don't know, it's refreshing the content on our website. It's given us internal links where we can be linking back to certain pages. If we're writing it about other people, we're writing it about government bodies, it's given us external links. If that external link works, then Google is going to rank it. So essentially what we want is our website to be generating traffic in and traffic out. We want it to be generating traffic within our website so that people stay on, but we also want it to be generating traffic outside of our website that Google then sees that there's 2 pages working together. And vice versa. If there's somebody externally that can be linking to you, then you want that as well. So you should be encouraging that, and that comes from guest blogging. Thinking about the keywords, they are so essential on the like of blogs, because that's essentially where we can be putting in 350 good words. We are creating content for social media. Our social media posts are driving people to our website. There's an external link coming into our website, so that's now ranking on better. We have all of this potential to create this content. We can do this ourselves. We don't need, somebody else doing that for us, but we should be generating that. That's why we want a blog. Every time you update your page, you're sending robots back to your website and you're ranking for the keywords that you control. And essentially, it doesn't mean that your website's a dead page. If you never update your website, you don't have anything coming in or going out, that's static. So it's only ranked once by Google and never changed. If that's the case, we need to be making regular changes to our website. The one thing that we want to remember about blogs is actually, when we think about it, we want our blogs to be consistent. We want people to be checking back. I have clients that generate monthly blogs, bi-monthly blogs, or quarterly blogs. So long as people know how often those blogs are going to be, they're newsworthy, then they will continue to click in. Images then. So we touched on this in a few slides back, but I want to go into slightly more depth. Google cannot see images. The robots do not have the ability to identify images, so what they see is blank space. all they would see if this was my web page would be images, alt text, keywords, sizing, good quality, and upload to Facebook. They wouldn't see the image at the side and they wouldn't see the image at the bottom. So that image at the bottom that says people, initiative, performance, that's saved as a JPEG. So it's no longer text, it's an image. Google will not see that. So if I'm thinking my keywords are actually people, initiative, and performance, I need my alt text to be that. I need my alt text to tell Google what that is, to explain what that is. Full circle then, so I have to have full circle logo, so they then know that that's the logo of the company. And it's similarly, every image that I put on my website will slow down loading time if it's not saved in the right way. So I want it to be adding value. We don't put images for the sake of putting images. We put images because they add real value to every page that we have on our website. So in terms of looking at that, we have to actually say, right, what would this resonate with somebody, or what is the reason for this? People don't see alt text, so we can actually put things in that maybe don't make sense but are key phrases. So what we want that page to rank for. Essentially, the keywords are important within this, but the sizing as well. If we keep all of our sizes pretty small, then it's not, massive size. It's not, load time isn't slowed down greatly. So now we're kind of generating a bit of interest where we've got text behind it, so it's content worthy. The size is small enough that it's not slowing down load time. It's not affecting the other things that we need to look at for SEO. So if you want to resize, if you mentioned Canva before about keeping sizes uniform, or upload it to Facebook as an album and then download it, and it will automatically be optimized for size. Mobile optimized. So you probably have heard of this if you've ever looked at the word SEO. It's one of the most difficult things to do by yourself if you're not a web developer. But essentially, the reason that something we want to mobile optimize sites is that it fits onto a mobile. Around 52% of worldwide website traffic was generated through mobile in 2018. Those figures are growing and growing every single year. If that's the case, we need to answer to that. We need to give people that option. That doesn't mean that people aren't going on through desktop. They're still 47.8%. So there's still traffic that are coming through a desktop. So our website can't solely look mobile optimized. We have to have two separate sites. One that looks great on a desktop but still works on a mobile. That comes from the templates that you choose. If we're looking at templates, they have to be mobile optimized so they can be used. And when we're developing our website, we have to say, what does that look like on a mobile? So we publish it, look at our mobile, say this needs changed, that needs changed, unpublish it and make those changes so that it works. Within a mobile, we have to be looking at the customer journey. Where do they want to be going? Because essentially images now take up the full screen. Images that were side by side showing the importance are now below each other. So we have to say, where does that call to action go? So that people are then clicking on the right buttons. The usability, is it user friendly? Can they swipe? So when you can hover over something on a desktop, if you're on the like of an Apple iPhone, that's not possible. They're clicking. So we have to look at the usability for a mobile and make that user friendly. Visually, people are a lot more visually in tune when they're using their mobile on websites, and they want it to look nice. We have to take that into account. So what I want you to do now is take 15 minutes to think. What do you believe people are using to search for you? What would you Google if you were wanting to find your company? Again, I asked that question if you're your customer, if you're your typical customer persona. If you're not, then what would your customer Google to find your company? Essentially, what we want to think about as well, our customer demographic search, would they search different terms on Google? And do we have to be looking at those? What I mean by that is, if my customers are from America, are they using different spelling to me? Do I need to look at that? Or are they all going to be UK spelling? And can I keep it regular with that? Will they put hyphens? If it's a hyphenated word, it may not be a hyphenated word, but is that something that your customers would search rather than it all being, two separate words? Would they search plural or singular? That sometimes comes in when we're looking at things like wedding. People, even though it's one wedding, people call it weddings. So we have to look and say, I need to be using a mix of both of these in terms of my keywords. So again, if you want to hit pause, take 15 minutes and think about what people are using, what people will be searching for you. So in terms of keywords then, we're looking at searches, we're looking at singular words, we're looking at phrases, because Google is now smart enough to work out phrases, separated by commas. Customer focused, we're looking at our customer and what they'd be searching for. I mentioned before about localizing or social media terms. What would somebody call, what is somebody referring to me in social media as? Can I generate that to make keywords? Google products that will help my website to rank slightly better. So a Google map, if we're using Google Maps, one, it's helpful for our customers to be able to see where we're based, to be able to visit us if they have to, if we're a shop or an office, how do they get to us? By putting that on, you're using a Google product, you're given basically an external link to Google, they're going to rank us slightly higher. Data capture, Google rank data capture higher. So if you don't have one, it may never be used, but if you don't have one on your website, that page is very difficult to get it ranked. So if it's never used and it's taken away the usability of your website, it's a judgment call you make. If it might be used and it's not taking away any value on your website, then it's something that you absolutely need to keep there, because it's an answer to one of the SEO. By submitting your sitemaps on your Google console, you're now telling Google consistently, what is my site, and have you ranked that site? You're asking those questions. We know ourselves, the customers that shout the loudest get the most reward, get the quickest service. So we want to actually be one of those customers for Google. Submitting a sitemap's free, so why not do it? And Google My Business, it's a social media platform. It gives back to Google because it's a Google product. So yes, it's not one of the ones that people go on to find out information or people go on to update regularly, but once a month, once every 2 months, keeping that page slightly up to date, making sure that all the information's on it, that if somebody comes across it, they're not reporting it for it being wrong. All of a sudden now, by having that Google My Business, Google thinks that you're giving an answer to them or you're giving them a reward, so they're going to rank that page slightly higher. Again, these are all things that you want to be looking at. Is my competitor doing it? If they are, they're answering Google's questions, so why aren't you? Internal and external links. Again, if we take 15 minutes and think of 5 websites that you could link to externally. Is there influencers that you use that you could get to do a guest blog? Are there market leaders, the like of which putting things out there? Government bodies, has somebody helped you in terms of supporting you financially to go to a trade show? Has somebody helped you financially in terms of going to visit people in different markets, giving them a shout out? Customers and clients, are you going to do a customer of the week or a client of the month? Can you be linking to their website? Suppliers, so somebody that has created your website for you, they're getting a shout out at the very bottom if we look. Is there somewhere else that we can be doing external links? And vice versa, directories, the like of Google, Yale, 4NI, those type of things. Those directories are all external links that are driving people into you, or social media platforms, but making sure that they're right, that they work, that they're not going to a broken page. Okay, so if you want to hit pause, do 15 minutes and then come back. Google Analytics then. So what is Google Analytics? Google Analytics basically, one, by having it, you have a Google product linked to your website, so it's going to help your SEO massively. But what it also is, it's an information tool. If we've ever looked at our social media insights or analytics, we'll know what we can generate from that. We know what posts work, what posts don't work. So what should I consider within my Google Analytics? Google Analytics will give you masses of information. You could spend weeks on it. The one thing that we don't want to do is take away all of that time that we could be using to generate keywords, to generate traffic, to generate content that actually would be driving people to our website and giving us better analytics. So we want to find that balance. If that's an hour every month, an hour every 2 weeks, it's so that we can digest it, we can know the information, but essentially it's not taking time away from what we're doing. So what is Google Analytics? Google Analytics will show us the bounce rate. Bounce rate is somebody coming onto your website and going straight off. Are they getting enough content within that 3 seconds? Probably not. The site might not even have loaded. So your bounce rate, you want it to be low. Essentially, is everybody going to stay on my website? No. So we are going to have an element of bounce. Google, the robots, are coming onto our site and going off. Is that counted as a bounce? So we want there to be some bounce. We don't want there to be massive bounce. If everybody is bouncing off our homepage, we need to do something about it. The average time or average pages that somebody stays on our website, essentially this is where we're going back to the user journey. If somebody is only going to 2 pages, is that enough to buy? If they're only on for 30 seconds, is that enough time to buy? If that's the case, then that's enough. That's all we need our average time to be. If it's not, then we need to increase that average time. So we're looking at the pages that they're bouncing on to generate a bit more traffic. The amount of visitors. Can we take a general amount of visitors and say that's not enough to consider our bounce rate? That's not enough to consider our average time. In which case, we use visitor numbers as a motivational tool to actually drive more people to our website through the like of our external links or internal links, through our SEO or keywords that were found on Google, and also our social media, driving people to your website. And this diagram at the bottom here is users flow. That can seem quite scary or confusing to certain people because it's just a lot of boxes. But essentially what that shows us is, one, what country the people are coming from. The grey then shows us their journey. So the / is your homepage. Then where have they gone? Where have they gone? And we can drag that across. So we can pinpoint somebody on the checkout that has gone to the checkout page. What did they do beforehand to generate enough interest or generate enough information to stay on our website? So 5 tips to keep people on your site or increase your average time. Pop-ups to sign up to a newsletter. But we have to remember, why would they sign up to the newsletter? Have we give them enough information? A clear journey for the customer. Is there a step-by-step process that we've maybe highlighted on our social media, or is it simple enough that any customer, and we have to think about that. Is it an older person, a younger person that needs step-by-step guidance? Is there enough calls to action on our website to keep people on our page? Are we telling them enough information, but then sort of driving them that we know where they want to go? Is there live chat? Is that something that we can do? The one thing you don't want to do is put a live chat on your website and then it not be active, or you not able to operate that. So we have to think, is this something that we can do within our own capacity at the minute? Video content will keep people on a lot longer because they'll be watching it, but essentially it can slow down load time. So we're looking at social media platforms to help us, like Vimeo or YouTube. But similarly, if we have good content, we're asking good questions on our website, people will stay on longer. So we have to, hold ourselves accountable and say, have we got good content? So in terms of SEO support, depending on what our website is built on, and this might be something that you need to find out or try and answer yourselves. So if our page is built on HTML, which is code, then the SEO support will all be coded in the pages, but we can change the content. If we're using the like of Wix and Weebly, Squarespace, Shopify, or Big Cartel, they're kind of the more popular ones, but they're template, essentially drag and drop. So what they have is in-house per page, Big Cartels per website. With that, we have to be thinking about why each page wants to rank, because we can't just copy and paste the SEO. This is where the process comes in. Which pages do we want to rank first? Are we going to put more time into? And then as we get time, if it's once a week, once a month, as we get an hour, we're going to put that into the second page, the third page, the fourth page. But again, content is important. If we're putting something in our title and our meta description that's not in the content of our website on that page, it's confusing Google. It's not giving them the right content. They're thinking that page is trying to rank for something that it's not. So we have to have the same key phrases replicated throughout that page. WordPress then, so there's like of the Yoast SEO. So there will be plugins that are specific for SEO. What we want to check is that compatible? So Yoast SEO may not be compatible with the template that you've chosen to create your website on. So we have to be saying which one is, finding plugins that are specific that we can then generate. And within that then, each page can be ranking on Yoast SEO. So that is the conclusion of this first podcast. So if you have any questions, my email address is patricia, patricia, at fullcircle.eu.com. And please do make sure that you are answering those exercises. You will know your business the best. You know, you can go and ask anybody questions, but ultimately you know your business the best. So you should be able to generate those questions and those keywords yourselves. Thank you for your time. And I'll just switch off the